Good morning, welcome to day 9. Today we're going to be doing a dandelion using braided metallic number 4, so it's a finer metallic thread. We will be working with closed fly stitches, a little bit of couching, and a few French knots. So this is metallic braid number 4. It's also a painter's thread. It's a really fun thread to stitch with because it has a nice glitzy finish, but it also has a bead-like appearance. So if you were doing French knots with it, they actually look like little beads, and often my students are surprised that it's a thread and not a bead. So it's a nice way of adding beads without having to pick up beads, I guess, and it gives a nice effect. You can see here it's quite a fine thread. It's fairly smooth, which is nice, so it's not gritty and doesn't catch on the wool when you stitch with it. Also very, very strong. So it's a fun thread. You can see I've been stitching with it here. It has a really nice appearance. It holds well on the top surface of wool. So I'm using a 24 chenille needle with this to do my stitches right here. So I'm going to chalk out the 10 spokes. So I'm going to put a dot right in the center, always important, and then mark at the 1.5 inch circle, which is the outermost point. And I'm going to mark all 10 spokes like this. And I'm going to rotate it halfway between like this, and I'm going to mark on the 3/4 inch mark, which is way in here. So I'm going to mark those. There we go. So you can see the 2 rings of it like this. So I'm going to actually stitch it in a minute, but I'm going to show you. I did a closed fly stitch by I came up above the dot and back down at the dot. And I did very close together. I went 3 times like that, and then I brought the thread right back to the center. So what I suggest you do is you couch back with your thread to start the next one, and the next one is going to be a short one. So we're going to come out 1/4 inch from our dot, do our line, and this time we're just going to do 2 sets and bring that to the center and couch back. And so we would repeat that. Then we'll do this, do 3, couch down, straight stitch down and couch back until the whole circle is done. And then we'll come back and add French knots randomly, and I just added French knots with a number 8 variegated thread just to add a little bit of color. I'm going to just stitch one of the spokes here. You're going to come up like 1/4 inch above your dot, go down to your dot, and then just come up to the left, and I'm keeping everything pretty tight. So then I'm coming over to the right and back right at the dot, thread underneath the needle. So I'll get my first little V. Then I'm going to go down just below and up again like this, over to the right and back to the center. And like I said, I'm going to do 3 of these on the long ones and only 2 sets on the shorter ones. Okay, so I've done the 3. I'm going to bring it down to the center like this. Make sure that that is nice and snug, and then I'm going to bring it up on my left hand side here, and now I'm going to couch it. And couching is just laying a thread down and stitching over it. So I'm doing these little couching at a scant 1/4 inch apart, back up to the top like this, and that'll keep that secure, because sometimes when there's long spokes or long stitches. I don't like to have them not anchored down because it, things will catch on them. So then I could come up and just come up 1/4 of an inch above the shorter one. And here, like I said, I'm just going to do 2 of them. So, and I'll just work all the way around the circle until they're all done. And you can see the thread is going through pretty nicely through the wool. I'm just using a 24 chenille needle, or you could use a 3 milliners if you wanted a longer needle. But you can see it's not catching down to the center, and then I'll come back and couch that. And so you'll just work around. By the time you've finished, at least couching it at the same time, by the time you've finished it'll all be completed. And then I just came in and did a few French knots to give it a bit of color using a variegated cotton with 2 colors in it, and I just did 2 wrapped French knots in a size 8. So have fun. I'm planning to do 3 of these to add a little bit of texture in the one corner. So you can do 1, 2, or 3 dandelions if you want. Okay, happy stitching.